Hey, it's Nicole.
Hey, this is Tiffany.
And it's Saya, and this is what keeps us together.
Basically, the group chat in your head.
Living rent free. If you haven't noticed, we are missing one of our friends here today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pour one up for my homie. You know, where she rests in paradise.
Oh my God.
I just swear. You know.
Not the eulogy.
Right. But the person
But she'll be back. She'll be back.
Right. Literally
We promise.
taking a break.
Yeah, she's taking a break. And so I'm just going to be the good ratchet self she knows how to be for her. So this one's for you, my homie.
We should start R.I.B. for rest and break.
We should try that one. But also, while we're missing our homie, don't forget to like, subscribe, share.
Look at the professional podcaster.
Hey.
Look at us getting there. We're getting there.
You know,
And if you want to submit any topics that you would like us to hear as well, you can also, or hear. If you would like to submit any topics you would like us to talk about, please just hit us up on our email at WKUTgether, right?
Mm-hmm.
At gmail.com.
Yep.
Woo.
in the
That
good
was hard.
in the good words of our friend, DM us respectfully.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, the topic at hand today
Oh, we
is...
forgot one.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, no.
Darn it. We had been doing so good and I ruined it. I'm
no,
sorry.
you didn't
It's
ruin
okay.
it.
I was
It's
so
okay.
excited.
No, because it's a perfect segue into like maybe that's just how our week is going,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
What
So
you did there?
how do we express our weeks through song?
You know it always.
Always. So, does anybody want to go first, or I'll go first?
You can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I think that this might have been a song that we had that maybe Tiffany had in the past, but maybe it's resonating with me this week.
Come on back around.
It
Bring
always-
on back around.
Oh, we'll be back around. I Hate You. It's about SZA.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm.
If you wonder if I hate you, I do. Yes, and that was intentionally loud because I want
Please, all y'all
just
understand.
to know
Mm.
that I do.
Mm.
Okay. I do.
Not
I
the
do.
scary
You just
laughter.
feel it.
Uh-huh.
But for
I do.
real, though.
Yeah,
But for real, though.
That's how my week is going. But better days are coming. Come on.
Come
now.
on now.
You see
Come
how I
on,
get
Okay,
to
come
the-
on.
that's right. You
I
got to
love
flip it
better
around.
days.
You got
Hey,
to.
hey.
Okay.
That's something wrong with us.
Egg.
I'll go next.
Okay.
I just saw Jasmine Sullivan live
Come on.
and in
Hey, strike
person in
flex.
Philly on Friday, and I'm
Mm.
about that life right now. So
Mhm.
my song of the week I can't resonate with any of these lyrics. It has nothing to do with my life, but I sing it from my soul, like I
From your
live
from your
this
chest.
like
Okay.
every time. So my song of the week is, yeah, my hair and my ass fake, but so what? I don't need it because I'm getting everything that I
Hey,
want,
hey.
everything that I asked
Come on,
for.
vocals.
And again, that's not my life. You know, I
Is it
wish
not?
I was getting my rent paid because my hair and my ass was fake, but
Look.
I live a life of respectability, I guess, instead.
I mean,
I
we
mean,
all choose our lanes and understand that this is the one.
Sometimes I'm like, man, I could have gone places with that.
look.
I only went for that BBL.
There's still time. Not for you. But
You know, I think the level that I'm at is these days, I'm like, I could start one of those, what's them?
OnlyFans?
Yeah, one of them, those feet only fans
Hey,
Look.
and never show my face.
Look.
Look, I'm
There's,
not gonna lie.
there's an entire market.
Cat
Kinda
on
terrifying to think
Euphoria made
about.
me really consider some things. So
Look.
I was like, all you have to do is put the mask on.
First of all, my OnlyFans, Uber. Gas prices are real. OnlyFans it is.
In my house, in the privacy of my
Listen.
own home.
Right.
The way that inflation is going up,
Look.
I mean-
You gotta understand. There's some.
If y'all got the money to
things.
pay for it, I got feet.
It pays for itself. They said. They say. Mm,
You know they say
Mm.
use what you got. The Lord
Mm.
bless you with feet.
mm,
Use them.
mm.
you didn't create the fetish. You just lended your parts to it.
Right.
Why not be a part?
Hello. Multiple streams of income.
Income. But they say it's passive income. I'm passively sitting on my behind making some money.
Literally kicking your feet up and making some cash.
Keeps the nail shops in business. Okay, we are feeding the economy.
When I succeed, my nail lady succeeds.
Okay. And I'm not gonna lie, they always say pay black women.
Right.
Just saying.
Oh gosh.
It's problematic all the way around. But
It's
it's
fine.
fine.
It's terrible.
It's fine.
What's your song, Sire?
All right. So my song of the week is first of all, we're still in March. Not sure when this is gonna drop, but this is Women's Month, so I figured I might as well stay on that. And looks like you all have as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
kudos to all of us.
Mhm.
But my song of the week is gonna be Is My Living in Vain by Escape. Not the Clark sisters.
I was about to say, you mean the Clark sisters?
No. The one I grew up on was Escape.
So not the original.
Not the original.
Oh, okay.
You remember that? Is my living in vain? Is my living in vain? Of course
I remember
not.
it. I just know it's not the original.
So this is where a girl who grew up on church songs deviates from a girl who definitely grew up on all the ratchetness that is possible in one's life. Church girl, ratchetness. So yes, I didn't do the original. I did.
That's okay.
It's just a 30-second little insert on Escape's album. But I'm telling you, the kids this week, woo,
I was scared to ask how it was relating to your life this week.
Right.
woo.
Right.
I had to be like, okay, Lord, bring it. Remind me. Okay, there's gonna be something great. Okay, just get me through this.
Your current job are only
What day of the week was it that the kid ran up to you at the park that wasn't even your kid that was like, I'm pooping.
That was
That happened?
Wednesday. Yes. Wednesday. I'm sitting on the park bench watching the other children that I'm nannying. And a child runs up right next to me, doesn't look at me, but is literally where Tiffany is, like right next to me. And it's just like, I'm pooping. But he says it like, so only I can hear it? And I'm like, well, where is your parent? Because I have nothing that I can do for you right now. And then his dad, I think he says it again. And his dad finally hears, he's like, can you wait till we get home? I don't think that's the reason why he was telling you. I think he was telling you because
It's an action.
It's happening.
It's actively occurring.
It's happening. And then earlier in the week, the two that I have, one of them twice in the same day. I'm doing potty training, by the way, right now. So pray for me. But twice in the same day, poops and pees in her underwear because we're doing potty training. I was like, Lord, are you calling me to something else? Is there somewhere else you'd like me to be? Because right now, this ain't it. I don't want to clean the diaper of somebody who will, as you are asking them, are you pooping? No. And then does it.
Not the cold lie.
The cold lie. I don't know what it is about children.
I feel like Candy. The lies.
Right. Bold-faced lie in your face. But I don't know what it is about kids where they don't want to go to the bathroom while they're in the middle of having fun.
Yeah.
But it is something about kids who are just, they're just like, right.
It's FOMO.
But I'm like,
listen, as an adult, sometimes I'm like, oh man, can I just send my bladder over there?
truly. Or you wait until you have to do the pee-pee dance. So
Yeah.
I understand it. But at the same time, it's like, but you know that you're going to go.
Right.
Because you have no real control over
It's
your
gonna
bladder.
take more time to clean it up.
But they don't have to clean it up.
Oh, okay.
And therein
all
lies
right.
the problem.
But they removed from the play for
Right.
longer.
Right.
Yeah, you would think, but they're not thinking that.
It's
that's too
much
logical.
logic.
No,
But
it
that-
is.
I know.
It's- They're 3-year-olds. What are we asking
I
for?
don't know. Okay.
Again, the fact that the little boy could tell me, "Hey, I'm pooping," was more
Or
than
not tell you, but just tell
the universe.
general vicinity.
Right.
You know, they said if you have a problem, just tell an adult. It doesn't matter if it's not your adult.
Right. Or anyone that can do anything about it. Just tell an adult.
Right.
Hey, that's better than what I'm dealing with, which is, are you pooping? No. Okay.
Why would you
All
ask that? They walk by, you can get the whiff.
No,
Hey,
wait.
no. Or get the walk. Because it's not even, it's the walk.
Not the
Are you
duck
pooping?
waddle. Can we move on?
You're right.
What is this podcast?
Because because we know how kids act.
Yes.
We may not have no kids of our own, but we've been around enough kids and know how they act. But anyway.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, but I love the babies. But anyway, yes, that's my song of the week.
Fair enough. Okay, so this week our topic is Black sensitivity. We're going to be talking about the Ralph Lauren SpelHouse collaboration and line. as a means to talk about the Saya, you wrote it.
The think pieces around.
Yes, okay, sorry. The think pieces around Black sensitivity. So I feel like we've discussed lightly how in the past there have been certain things that Black culture has it's ruffled our feathers as a collective whole, and we're going to be discussing, the pluses and minuses of that, when it feels valid, when it feels like we're just being sensitive, when it feels good versus when it feels are we just reaching here
or wanting to be upset about any and everything sometimes.
Okay.
This question is the thing that I question sometimes.
But where do you think that comes from? We can get into it.
Yes,
okay.
That's
First, we're going to play this clip from Ralph Lauren himself talking about this collaboration with SpelHouse.
I have always believed in the American dream. Since I started my company over 50 years ago, I considered our greatest responsibility to understand, be inspired by, and aspire to the dreams of all those who call this country home. When I was approached with the idea of a collection inspired by the heritage and traditions of the timeless dressing of historically Black colleges and universities, it became clear that part of our design sensibility has been missing. This special collaboration with the students, the faculty, and alumni of Morehouse and Spelman colleges, two esteemed institutions attended by our own employees, extends the authenticity of our brand heritage, writing untold chapters in our storytelling. Our portrait of American style and our vision of the American dream would be incomplete without Black experiences like these. I'm so honored to be part of it.
All right. Ooh. Well, I'm just going to say my first reaction to this was not correct because I didn't even listen to the video. I don't know how many of y'all are on IG and the sound don't be on and you just be like, oh,
every video.
That's nice.
I watch with no sound.
That's why I be loving captions.
Love it. Every part of it.
Because they'll be like, oh, yeah, I forgot that's a thing you can do on here is add sound to these videos. So I know that there have been a lot of think pieces on this topic with regards to the Ralph Lauren video. But when I first initially listened to it, and it's somewhat still my same opinion, but there's some nuances. But when I first listened to it, when I first watched it, I was really excited about the whole thing. I enjoy fashion. I enjoy looking at the different runways that they have for fall season, spring season. I'm always checking them out to see what is coming up new, what's next. And I also really, really, really love old fashion. So to me, the pictures that they chose to utilize for his this line for SpelHouse are the ones that for me, I always loved about certain types of fashion. So my fashion early on as a kid, I loved watching my dad get into suits. I loved seeing ties. I loved seeing the dress shoes. That was my aesthetic, even though I couldn't really live in that for a long time, but that was my aesthetic. So when I first came out, that was what I was wearing. Ties, suits, slacks, whole 9 yards. And so I often mirrored a lot of my aesthetic to older, I should say from the years in which Ralph Lauren took their, this line through, which is 30s, maybe. Yeah. That looks like it's
20s, 30s.
Yeah, 20s 40s, and 30s. Yeah.
Maybe the 50s too, but I'm not sure.
I loved that era. And so when I saw that, and knowing also, I will also say knowing, because I've really been into fashion and I really enjoy going back, and men's fashion especially. Women's fashion, I have never really been into, but men's fashion and also the history in men's fashion, the nuances of it from that era have been my favorite, really. And so seeing this, was like, oh, this is so fun. This is so great. This is exactly what I would love to see. Also, because I'm a fan of Ralph Lauren's lines, I would spend a lot of time on his website finding looks for different things. For me, it makes sense for what he normally does.
Mm-hmm.
His aesthetic, he started out, I looked on his website, he started out making ties. Like his aesthetic is more so of a dressed up aesthetic. He has changed and evolved that over the years because we don't dress like we used to dress, but that was where he started out at. And so for me, seeing it without sound, I was like, oh yes, he's getting back into it, but he's also including African Americans into his line. And he's not, whereas before most of his stuff has been white America centered. Most of his stuff. I don't know that he's even gone into Asian American or Latin American. Most of his stuff is white centered for Americans, but it's prep. It's always been mostly prep, right? And so watching that, I was
elite white Americans.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yes, elite white Americans. As a matter of fact, I think that's what they say on his website. Not elite, but they like use I can't remember the word. I looked it up, but like Oxford shirts, chinos, like there's a Ivy League type of look is what he normally, that's where he got most of his base. And so when I was watching this, I was like, okay, that makes sense because that time and era, that is what everyone was wearing all day, every day. Even when you went out to go play, you were wearing a full on suit.
Can you explain how your mentality about it changed, if it did, between when you played it with and without sound?
Because he was saying that he wanted to include the colleges and he wanted to include the Black experience, and he didn't state that it was just going to be for this era. They chose the era, but he didn't necessarily say, oh, this is just going to be for this era. He was making it sound like, oh no, this is going to be representative of all, holistically of Black people. And I was like, now I see why everybody has a problem with it, because that's not technically what we all like. That was an error,
right?
But that is not all encompassing of who we are. And their think pieces have included like saying that it wasn't very representative of queer individuals, which we all know the narrative then for Black people was at that time frame was we're just trying to show that we are quote unquote normal. We don't want to include the outliers because that would make individuals have a negative thought process about us. Even though they existed, they weren't trying to push that narrative forward, especially at Morehouse and Spelman. Because I think even with Morehouse, if I remember correctly, it wasn't until recently that they even were okay with including or saying or talking about like same-sex relationships or gay men walking in their truth if it's something outside of the suit, because you're supposed to like wear a suit during like certain business classes and stuff like that when you're at Morehouse. So I don't think they even started being more inclusive of other dress until as of like maybe the last 7-10 years, I think. Okay. If I remember correctly, because I follow a couple of guys that used to go to Morehouse that were gay, and so then they've been talking about that. But that's a nuance within a nuance within our culture. It's a nuance within this particular HBCU
and the era.
Right. And so like I get what Ralph was trying to get at, but I don't think the language was correct. And that is, I think, the reason why a lot of people are having a problem with it. Because I think,
oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, I don't. Let me step. I was incorrect in saying that. I think that may exactly be what he's talking about, but I think that he is missing the mark when he is saying that, because he's only doing it from a certain era when I think what everyone's complaint is there's more to us than just this era that's coming out of Spelman and Morehouse. And if you're only looking at that and then you're saying that we're being more inclusive and you're saying that we're trying to include Blacks,
you're still being really myopic.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So that's why sorry.
So I have, because I look at things from a multitude of perspectives, he started off really good with saying reshaping the look of American history, because this whole shift, and I actually had journaled about it, like how we're hearing a lot of Black history is American history.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciated that, because we're more than just chains, shackles, and 400 years of slavery, 500, however many years.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there is a shift in the thought process that us being a part of American history makes us a part of innovation, makes us a part of change, and makes us a part of, it creates a level of inclusivity. However, I mean, I like Polo to a degree I'm a label hoe, but so from that perspective. But for me, it was a little less the look of clothes and what audience they were going for, versus like if I'm talking about inclusivity, and so friends who go to SpelHouse, to Spelman, and friends that go to Morehouse, I'm not coming for y'all. Like, but so I just want to be clear.
Or is she?
No, I'm not. But a part of me was, okay, I know that y'all partnered with these particular schools, but if we are thinking of HBCUs, there are a whole lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What made you choose these two specifically? And why not incorporate more of them? Why, or is that maybe that's the vision for the future? But like, I'm one of those people where, I mean, I get agitated when you drop the new Samsung phone and it goes to Verizon first and not to AT&T. Yes, because I have AT&T. But what makes certain brands, schools more important than the rest, where you don't include other schools? So like, I'm sure there are plenty of people in this area that, why didn't I get a Howard Polo?
Yeah.
Why is there not, even though this is an institute, a Hampton Polo? Or you went to Tuskegee.
Yeah.
Why is there not a Tuskegee connection?
I will say, I think some of this also is because some of the people I follow have from Morehouse that are into fashion, I think are some of the people that have made their way into Polo. So I think that may be it.
Okay.
He said that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the person that designed it is actually from this area, but went to Morehouse.
Okay.
Right.
And now works at Ralph Lauren.
Right.
So I remember he said that. He said that I have a couple.
The question still stands.
Yes.
A couple of the people that work here went to these schools. Okay, fair, but
there's more.
We know that there's a larger picture there.
Right.
And I feel like, I don't know, it feels weird. I had a lot of qualms, and the more I think about it, the more problematic I find it. And I hate that for me, because like there is a piece of me that like loves that something like this now exists and has been created. But I have a problem with, first of all, the line itself. I understand and see the appreciation of the era.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't see is any form of innovation or modernization of appreciation of the past. What I see is a replica.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that is a strange take, because it's not a take to me. It is a replica.
Right.
And which then to me makes it seem like it would be easier to include other HBCUs if that's what you're going to do. If you're not going to modernize the style of the past and like make it more of our current era, then I don't know. I don't have an answer for why you wouldn't include other schools, because that's an easy pull to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because you're not going to do it. You're not doing anything different.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I'm like mistaken, like please correct me, like show me the ways that this is a modern take. I'd love to learn more about that. But from my view of having like looked at the lines, the men's line and the women's line, I don't really see innovation there. And I think it's interesting. I unfortunately feel like, and I'm sure Ralph Lauren did not write this himself, right? Oh. But what I hear in phrases like what he says about like, oh, I realized that there was a missing piece in our collections that didn't represent Black America. like what I'm hearing is, it's giving like accept us, we're American too. You know what I mean? As opposed to, and I just find that like so problematic with taking this, giving a line like this to a white brand is such a weird choice for me from a HBCU. I think that is so weird. And I understand like go ahead. I understand like that Ralph Lauren has like a big chokehold on Black culture, especially like probably our era, growing up, like polos were like the thing. Polo boots, like we repped Polo, and I don't know that they loved us at that time for that. Now there seems to have been grown more of an appreciation, but I feel like later in the video, like if you watch the full clip is like 3 minutes. We only played like a minute of it, but there's someone that says the significance of Ralph Lauren seeing us and seeing what our institutions produce, and I just was like, what? Like, that's the take? It's like still wanting Ralph Lauren to validate you? Like, that's where we are?
I'm glad you said that, because while I was thinking about this, I'm like, as we're in an age of supporting Black business and knowing that there are so many Black creators out here in this world, yes, Ralph Lauren owns his brand, but anybody can make a shirt with a collar and put a label on it. And I feel like if we are going for a specific look, for even the partnership to happen for Spelman and I keep getting ready to call them SpelHouse.
It works.
It does.
In case if you are not aware, and you're listening, SpelHouse is the colloquial name for Spelman and Morehouse colleges, because Spelman is a women's college, Morehouse is a men's college, and they are very closely tied together.
They're considered the brother and sister schools. They're right next to each other in Atlanta, so that's pretty much the reason for that.
So I find that in this age where there are so many Black creators out here, what would make you partner with Ralph Lauren, who is a white male business owner? Right?
It's that.
Well, so then
love us, accept us. We're part of American history.
Right. So make your own shit. Well, so that's one thing. I also feel like, is this Ralph Lauren's response to, because people of color support his business so tough, whether it be wearing polo boots or rocking polo shirts. I mean, I know my man, like, he lives in a polo shirt. Like when he goes out, everything polo, fine, whatever. But because if my memory serves me correct, there was a space and time, like you said, where while we loved him, did he love us back?
It's giving Hennessy.
And because people started questioning his love for us, is this his response to, look, I do love y'all. See, I'm going to make a whole line just for you.
But is it even his response if the people that work at Ralph Lauren had to be the ones to take it to him? Like, I mean, it seems like it didn't even occur to him.
And it probably didn't. So
even though it's like very, I feel like, you know, Ralph Lauren is like very collegiate, the polos specifically are very like collegiate, preppy, right? Like elite.
I guarantee you,
Ivy League, you know.
How someone pitched it to him is, okay, so this is the backlash you're getting. We get a lot. This is the stat of money that we get from this particular demographic. We need to do something so that we can get this number back up.
I will take you another step. So I also follow another brand called, it's a Black-owned brand, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug it real quick.
Go ahead.
The BK Circus on Instagram, but they have created pretty much the same aesthetic that he is doing right now, but they've been doing it for years. So I'll take another step and say they were probably cutting into his margins a little bit,
right?
And because they're charging way more than he is for some of his stuff. And people are flocking to their thing.
Now, does it look modern?
Yes. Well, so it's not really,
Sorry.
Not so much. No. As a matter of fact, this is what I was saying. That era, a lot of people like.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people like that era.
Yeah.
So it's not that they want it modernized. They just want it to maybe be like you have a Morehouse on it, or you have a Spelman on it, or you have it maybe having that old vintage look,
right?
But you're using a different material, right? Like there's like a little bit of a tweak, here and there, but for the most part, they're keeping and they're following along the same aesthetics that there were in the 30s and the 40s.
Yeah.
They haven't really, there are a lot of people who like the nostalgia. They want to look like it used to be, but maybe there's something different about it, right?
So I feel like that in and of itself is like enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm here for reclaiming an era,
mm-hmm.
right? I'm here for getting to rewrite history in a way that's like, I loved this era. I may not love what it represented, and I love to give a Black business my Black dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's enough of a change if it is like, I love this aesthetic and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to find a way to bring it back. But yeah.
No, I understand what you were saying.
I wonder, so just...
I was just saying he did it real half-ass is what you really was saying. But, I mean, you did.
But I also don't want to shade the Black guy that created the line. So I'm trying not to be disrespectful, because like, I understand that there is another side. I understand that there is an appreciation of the past and traditions, and that's what a lot of our HBCU traditions are steeped in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to disrespect that, but I did like seeing all the hype around this before I saw the line. I thought at first, I was like, oh, I must not be seeing the full line.
Right.
This must be like a section of it, and I must be like missing like what else is there, because I just was surprised. And that's why I think it's so interesting, because everybody that I saw hyping it up either goes to SpelHouse or Spelman or Morehouse. And so I was like, is it just like, I mean, if I went there, I would want to be really proud of it too. Yeah. I would want to be bigging it up. I would want to be, I don't know that I would be speaking towards like any of the negativity aspects in an open forum if I went there. So like it would have been interesting to have someone on the pod that could speak to that from a different perspective, because I wonder how much of that is like school pride and wanting to be very proud of where you came from, and also like if they're have this qualm too, where it's pride and problematic.
Nicole, go ahead, because I got a thought. Go ahead.
So again, respect for the era, because segue, well, not even a segue, sidebar just a little bit. I've been watching the show. I've been watching the Black Wonder Years.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
And so I binge watched it, which is the thing I do.
So it's just the Wonder Years, but I love that we have to caveat it by saying it's a Black person.
Oh no, it's clear.
Yes.
Well, there needs to be a caveat.
Well, no, so there's the original Wonder Years. Right?
I know, but it doesn't say the Black one.
I want to be clear, because I'm sure that and I do too.
Yes.
I want to be clear because some of the conversation is different, right?
Very.
And
even though
where
like
it's located,
the episodes are like by like subject would be the same.
Yes.
But they're handled very differently.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yes. And so before I even started seeing Ralph Lauren on my timeline, meaning from other people who were like, oh, this collection's coming, right? I made notice, and it's a different time frame. I mean, it's the same, but slightly different. It's like a few years off, I want to say. But I did notice, I said, these little kids come to school dressed all the time. Like they are dressed. Like they're dressed like how we expect kids to come to church now. And in my mind, so there was actually an episode where the little boy comes in the house and the dad goes, why you still got your good clothes on? Like, don't you want to go put on your so I know that there's a shift in, well, let me say this.
In that time frame?
That time frame.
It's cool too, because the mom's hair is like relaxed and pressed, and the daughter's hair is like an afro, and a lot of
so there's a bunch of different looks based off of generation, what is allowed, what's not allowed, what people think are acceptable in that space and time. And even so, I guess for me, because business is what I do, I'm looking at the marketing. It's not my stronghold, but I do look at that as a consumer, and I see that even the people who are in these advertisements, and I'm trying to debate on if I'm slightly triggered or if I am.
Speak on it.
Yeah.
But so like there's in his advertisement, there's a shift between like a flashback of like black and white and into like modern day.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally looks like somebody did some really bomb ass editing from an old ass video, because it just looks like he put color to the black and white video.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the ladies here are represented in a way of what may be culturally accepted.
Oh,
like
you hit all of the money.
In order to be an elitist,
yes,
even in Black cultures, this is what you need to look like.
Yes,
you need to have your hair freshly pressed or pulled back. And I think what's triggering me is because of some of the experiences that we've had regarding job interviews in hair, or just in me and my own family unit, because there's a multitude of generations just between my mom and sisters and I. It's like, okay, y'all need to loosen up. That's not how the world looks anymore. Relax. As to why I have locks and I'm loving it. And actually, we had a thing at work, and I spoke about how I loved the fact that I was locking my hair and how it was such against cultural society when it comes to the workplace. And I noticed that in these advertisements, everybody looks the same.
Well, see, so I will say, when I started this whole conversation, I said that that's the aesthetic that I really like. So it took me a couple of years, first of all, to even get to the point of having to check my own self about the reason why I like that aesthetic. Because it got to the point where I was like, am I trying to be something that I see represented in the world that's not me, but is accepted by everybody else?
Right.
Or is this really the aesthetic that I like, and I just like it for liking it?
That's so deep.
So it took me a couple of years. And I think a lot of that also has to do with like being in corporate America and, you know, trying to navigate all of that as well. But it took me a couple of years to finally be okay with not always being dressed up, because I would be dressed up all the time, every situation.
You still look dressed to me, like I don't
back swag,
but it's different, right?
Yeah.
And so it's
still put together.
Thank
Always
you,
put
I
together.
appreciate it. I try, but I had to really run that in my mind and try to determine whether or not was I doing that to fit in? Was I doing that to achieve some cultural acceptance? What was that about? Because a lot of, to Nicole's point, a lot of what it was happening during that era was that. And especially when you're talking about those who have managed to make it into a college at that point, right?
Right.
So you're going to a college in order to get a job after you graduate. Let me backstep and saying too, I know my brother at FAMU had this in the business school, but also at Morehouse, you have to wear a jacket like all the time. Like a jacket and I think a tie as well. Like jacket, tie, and khakis all the time is what I know.
To that point, right? Even when I was in college in the early 2000s, I guess no, it was a little bit later than that. Whatever. I was hearing of people who went even to Hampton that if they were in the business school, they had to come dressed like they were in the business school. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, thank God that I went to this PWI, because even though I made it an HBCU experience,
it happens there too, though.
No,
in a different way.
But had I went to class and somebody told me I had to look a certain, first of all, at 8:00 in the morning, this is what you're gonna get. I pay you with these good dollars,
and that's why I didn't go to a military school, because the way I almost went to Naval Academy, and I was like, no, you sleep in a sleeping bag so you don't have to make your bed every morning.
No.
No.
But to that point. There's this, so that in the 30s and the 40s, Black people are being educated, but they're still not getting the jobs, right? So they're dressing in order to appease. If you've seen what's the HBO show with Major, what's his name? It was
some clues.
Huh?
Give us some clues.
The one where it was kind of sci-fi-ish.
Lovecraft Country.
And Lovecraft, right? And the girl gets hired at the department store because she looks a certain way that is appeasing to the white people. It is not because
she's more qualified. Better, yeah.
So at that time you understand, no, I've got to dress that way. So I can understand why it's done, but I can also understand why people are having problems with this line because of that.
But let me also go into that, because even with that specific example, it's not because she didn't dress the part.
Right.
It's because she didn't look it.
Yeah.
It's because she wasn't a size 2.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like that is, Nicole really hit it on the head with what all the imagery of it is. It's not just a reversion back to the era. It's like we're back to the era and we've learned nothing.
Look, it's giving me
it's not, there's no diversity of body types. There's no hair diversity. There's no, and in a time where the Crown Act just passed, where it's like that, exactly what you're talking about is no longer allowed. Now, how they go about proving that is why you didn't get the job, I still don't know, but that's neither here nor there. It just seems like, yeah, you really hit like, I couldn't really like grasp like what my problem was with like going back to this era, but it is like that it's not just a reversion in imagery. It's also like a reversion of like morals, values, things that we've learned, things that we feel like we've overcome. We're all just like dashed in every piece of the imagery with this line.
It's giving me Black Handmaid's Tale.
But you got to also think about, so this has been a struggle.
It's also like gatekeeping feeling.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was about to say.
Like, and having not gone to an HBCU, I feel like I see this a lot with Spelman and Morehouse, where it's like they get things that other HBCUs don't even get like to dream about.
Right.
Because are they falling in line with what white culture is okay with seeing?
But do people even, not even just that, does white culture know what HBCUs are?
Okay, so that was my other point. So I wanted to talk about that. Thank you. So, because I couldn't remember what my other point was. So, also part of the reason why I didn't have a problem with this at first, we've had conversations, was the simple fact of how many people are now who are randomly scrolling through Ralph Lauren's page. And I mean people other than Black. And
randomly scrolling through 4 days ago, because that's already buried.
Right. So if you, yes.
Right.
And I mean, it's on their page, but how many people now in this day and age go to the Polo site?
Right.
You know,
first of all, I didn't even know they had a site. I just think about the store.
You didn't know they had a website.
No, like when I first went to the website and I saw like pillows, I was like, oh God, they really do have things.
Oh yeah.
I forget. Like outside of Marshall's, look, Ralph Lauren, you're not getting my full $1. You're just not.
You don't get whatever percentage you get.
TJ Maxx, when you send your things there, then maybe we can have a conversation about it.
Understand that Black people are normally going there to get most of your products, but that's neither here nor there. So I initially was like, how many people has this at least touched eyes in the industry? Maybe so much not the everyday
the fashion industry?
Fashion industry.
Okay.
Because the fashion industry, Ralph Lauren is a name, right? Yeah. So Ralph Lauren is a name that you're going to, if he's dropping something in the fashion industry, you are paying attention.
That's
true.
And
it doesn't matter who you are, white, Black, doesn't matter.
Right.
So when I first watched this
would have been fire on a runway. Sorry.
Yes, agreed.
I would have maybe felt differently about it, but go ahead. If you just surprise people with, all right.
Sorry, I don't want to take away from your point, because in my mind I'm thinking yes, runway, because I would have people of color of all shape and size, all different hair aesthetic, whatever,
and making all the white people in the room uncomfortable recalling this Black era on a runway in like New York.
Like making
the vibe is completely different with that
than it is in this collection.
Yeah,
and I don't know that fall already dropped. So
I don't know. Listen,
fall should have already dropped. I have to look.
No, it's probably fall. It's March.
I hope it is because it's
sweaters,
cable knit sweaters.
No. So I meant
dresses.
Drop on runway. Sorry, runway is always
but I think Fashion Week was just last month.
That's what I'm saying. So it already dropped. I don't think this line had dropped.
Ralph Lauren's not going to put this HBCU collection on his runway.
First of all,
I mean,
never. Never.
Go ahead.
My point is neither. But what I was trying to say was, when I watched it without sound, my initial thought, caveats, key, that, wow, how many people are just not learning about Spelman and Morehouse? Period. Like, just in general, how many people around the world are now learning about Spelman and Morehouse? And from that fact alone, I was like, I kind of like this. I see where this is going.
Yeah.
I'm digging that from just that alone. Well, because I know that there There are people I went to elementary school with. There are people I went to high school with who have. When I told them I was going to Tuskegee, people were like, "Oh, what's that?"
Not even that. I was having a conversation with a coworker probably like 5 years ago, and I was like talking about like HBCUs, and she's like, "What's that?" And I said it, and I said, "Oh, historically Black colleges and universities," and she was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Are we about to box at work?" Like, I didn't even go to one. Am I about to fight you right now?
Look, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready.
Like, why did you laugh? What was that about?
Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. Call me.
I'm feeling rage again.
Call me. I stay looking for a reason.
Sing Kumbaya my head.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Relax.
Yeah.
It's okay. Sip your drink.
It was a lot.
Sip your drink.
But that was
for
my
our homie.
Yes. That was my
for our homie who would shout out Shaw U. I
Which
didn't
is
go
another
there.
HBCU.
Let's be clear. I did not go there, but our friend Carol went to Shaw U.
R.I.B. R.I.B.
For you.
But yeah, so that was my initial reaction, was like, you know, there are a ton of Black think pieces on this, but not gonna lie, there is at least a quarter of the world who now knows that Morehouse and Spelman even exist.
Can I also say,
what does that mean?
Well, one, what does it mean?
America,
and
so.
two, I'm kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a little, one, protective, and two, a little possessive, because I'm like, do I want everybody Googling me? Like, do I want everybody Googling HBCU? Do I want, like, not that I even went to one, but because I created one in my mind, I created my own HBCU experience. I feel like I'm a part of the culture by connection from my friends. And I'm like, do I want people going to our schools?
Well, it's not even just like going. It's like, what does your knowledge mean? Like, are you sending money there? Are you helping? Are you hiring people from HBCU specifically because you know they exist?
Opportunity for Ralph Lauren to say a proceed of this collection.
To be fair, I don't know if they're not doing that.
Right.
Well, you're right, to be fair, but if he isn't, this would be a perfect opportunity.
It would be.
I will also say,
not only am I going to donate to Spelman and Morehouse, but to all HBCUs, because Spelman and Morehouse are some of the bigger ones that have dedicated alumni that are willing to feed into their school programs. Other HBCUs that aren't funded, that are looking at closing their doors because they can't afford things, run them some money.
Yeah. Right. Run me my money.
Again, someone who didn't go, but I understand the assignment. Like, they need to stay open for our future.
Yeah. I cannot speak to that piece, but I will say, with knowledge comes opportunity. And I will also say that not only that, but he did mention hiring individuals from those schools. And I think what is missing in the fashion industry, especially, is a black voice. And I agree that the line is not what it could be. I do not take away from that.
We also don't know the limitations that people are under working at Ralph Lauren. They have a very specific look.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all of that being said, will this open up other doors at Ralph Lauren? Will this open up other doors in the fashion district overall? I'm hoping so, because honestly and truly, some of the kids that I have been following since they were in Morehouse, they've been doing really good stuff out here in the fashion industry and have been getting looks that, like, you know, they otherwise wouldn't have. And I don't know if that has to do with, you know, the industry as a whole recognizing that there are Black individuals out there who have more to offer that aren't necessarily also like the actual designers, but are stylists that are, you know, like they even on
I'm feeling like so like I understand what you're saying. I don't want to discount that. Like I understand what you're saying. I understand access. I understand points being made. I understand that people from HBCUs and Black people want to be part of larger conversations that white, not even just America, but like white people have access to, capital for, by some regard. But if we're talking about like support Black business and buy Black, I don't like, when do we start creating our own lanes for ourselves. Like, why do we still need Ralph Lauren to validate our American experience?
Access. And that's the only. I don't disagree with you, but access.
I just don't feel like we're still at a time when we don't have access, and so like that's where I'm coming from. Because
I'm asking for.
I do in the fashion industry, especially.
I don't. I think at a time where we're seeing Virgil do what Virgil did, rest in peace. Like I don't. When we're seeing stylists that are winning. That are representing Black women that are winning Stylist of the Year, Fashion Icon of the Year, like.
But how are they doing that?
I don't think that we're back there anymore.
But how are they doing that? So normally, Virgil and all of them got their start. Rappers, Black rappers, Black athletes, Black artists.
But isn't that how Ralph Lauren got to where he is right now? With Black rappers, Black athletes. You know what I mean?
No, I do. But
like not his start,
right?
But his access to the Black culture,
yes.
And so like that's where I'm coming from, like from the standpoint of like, I'm not denigrating anybody's desire to have access to more, like or an easier route to not needing to overcome. If it's not for everybody, right. It can't be everybody's plight. I'm not speaking against that. I just feel like I guess I have heavy recall of this moment where. I was listening to The Breakfast Club and Charlamagne. I can't remember the man's name. I'm going to remember it and I'm going to put it in our stories when we post this episode.
But Danny?
No, it wasn't. He's not a regular on Breakfast Club. They had him for an interview.
Yeah.
And he's like from North Carolina. And he was talking about how when the civil rights movement started and Black people decided that we need to be on white people's buses and that we should have access, that basically we collapsed an entire economy that we had on our own.
Agreed.
That were Black buses and that were Black businesses at that time. And I never even knew about that. The whole time that I was learning about the civil rights movement, I thought niggas was walking if we weren't on the bus. Not that we
had come up with,
like spoke against, can't see it, sorry.
Dr. Chad, Claude, and I can't see it.
Chad Anderson.
Oh, okay. Claude Anderson.
Dr. Chad Claude Anderson.
Claude Anderson.
Dr. Claude Anderson was on the Breakfast Club talking about how
thank you, Patrick.
We had our own buses.
Yeah.
They were Black buses. We had our own economy in certain areas of the country, and that we were doing fine until we decided that we needed to integrate with white people and that we should have access to what they had. And we completely downcasted what we were already doing for ourselves. And so that honestly lives in my brain rent free because it completely changed how I think about how we go about things from the standpoint of if we are always like begging people to validate our experience, to acknowledge our experience, to give us access for our experience without acknowledging that we don't need you to do that. We can do it for ourselves. If we keep bigging up brands that have nothing to do with our culture, making them tons of money, even when they don't want to acknowledge that we're making them tons of money because Black culture is the movement. Black culture creates the vibe. Black culture creates what's popular. Like, we're never going to be at the place that we are always talking about. So that people are holding us back. Sometimes it's us. Sometimes we're doing it to ourselves.
I agree.
I'm going to say this just because sometimes I really like to, I do sometimes feel like I miss my calling in business versus psychology because I really do sometimes want to understand the psyche behind decisions that are made and why people do some of the things that they do. So to your point, when we have an entire infrastructure set in place and yet we still seek something else, it's because the human nature, regardless of what color you look like,
why can't we have access to that?
Why can't we get,
which is how white people
why can't we attain the unattainable? There's an entire song to obtain the unattainable, right? Because we want to put our hands on something that people say we can't have. It's not to sound childish, but Aladdin, like going down into the lion's mouth to go get this room of gold only to face disaster afterwards, right? Well, in the moment, right? Because we have to put our hands on something that doesn't belong to us because it's like this desire or need to be like, I want what they have. And I would challenge to say, is it acceptance or is it because you have this, now I feel like I also should have this, instead of just working with what you have, like working your own path. Because
it's a little bit of both, because what the perception, what that mentality misses is that if we actually just spent our own Black dollars in our own Black community, we would already have it. We wouldn't be looking to them to give it to us.
But how would we? People don't know that because they haven't gotten that far. They won't work that.
But some people.
Well, so let me. I've had this conversation.
Ooh, I love this conversation.
I was about to say I've had this conversation multiple times with Dwight, especially. But the thing that we miss when we talk about what Dr. Claude Anderson talked about, you got to remember, Black Wall Street was happening. Black Wall Street didn't desire to not be there. Black Wall Street was fine in what they were doing. There are a lot of groups in the 70s that were doing a lot of the same things we're talking about now. It's not that we are not doing it, and it's not that we are not capable of doing it.
Right.
I think what the caveat that a lot of us forget is that when we get a little too far ahead,
they start denigrating us. So like in the 70s, what they would do, they send the cops, or they collectively, I remember I was reading this book that talks about California, Philly, everywhere. There's a lot of places where there were Black groups doing certain things, and then that's a lot of the Black Panther stories. I remember being in school learning about Black Panthers, thinking that they were all
that in school?
Crash and destruction. Wait, no. What I learned was that Black Panthers were adverse at best, is what I can say, and that they were not nice in how they were trying to go about what they were going. What I didn't know is that Black Panther were trying to protect the Black community, that they were wielding around guns to protect themselves from the cops, that they were creating lunch programs for kids that couldn't afford it. Didn't learn about that.
Right.
So therein lies, I don't disagree with anything that you guys are saying, or Dr. Claude is saying, but what I will say is when we have tried in our past, and like I was going to say, there was a story that I read that talked about a collective of Black individuals who got together to make their own grocery store in their neighborhood. Why? Because there was not one. Food desert. Yeah. They did that. Soon as they started taking money from the white neighborhoods, what the white grocers get together do? They came in and cut the lines of their refrigerators, so all this food flowed several times until they could no longer keep the thing open. So I don't disagree with what y'all are saying.
I agree.
But it is not that we don't desire that.
Yeah.
We definitely do. But we have, because of racism, period. Because of racism, we have we have had to restart. So what we have come to now is, one, there have not been enough people talking about what has been happening in the past, so it doesn't happen again. Two,
and that's across many communities.
Yes, right.
Go ahead.
But then two, we have said, okay, well, you know what? We've tried our way. There may be a way in which, bottom line, it should be equal anyway, right? Like, I don't want to take away from Black people what they have, but it should be equal anyway. Yeah. So did we run a little bit to the white stuff? Yes, because what was easier was, I'm not losing my life. I'm not losing my livelihood because I'm now I don't have as much of the floor being pulled out from under me if I just give you the money anyway. Why? Because it's easier.
Yeah, I definitely. You're right, and
you're
right.
I mean,
no. But I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I was being myopic in my view and not in discounting those aspects. But I would respond in saying that the difference is that going this route, whereas we should be at 100% because of the efforts that we put in different industries and have been cut down because of racism. If we're at 25%, we're going to be at 18%
doing it this way.
Trying to do it through white people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like that is the chasm of like what the experience is. And while in this, and I'm not trying to do like what white people do when they're like, what do you guys want? You had a Black president. Like, there is no racism anymore. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to be like, because there are anomalies and people that have made it to the forefront at the top tier, that it's easy for everyone. That's obviously not the case for various reasons in addition to racism.
Y'all have had a president.
But I'm just trying to acknowledge that we still don't get 100% doing it this way.
Right.
I guess it's what I'm trying to acknowledge.
That's absolutely right.
The other part of it is, so I also agree, because I do, anytime I hear something about So actually, I learned the first time I ever heard about Tulsa, like in all seriousness, was at
Black Wall Street.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say Lovecraft Country. I really learned about it in church.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Okay.
In church at Bible study, where pastor was sharing
and that story
Black history
feels
moment.
like no way.
Well,
when you first hear about it,
So there's, of course, as
bombs
coming up for me as a kid growing up, you always hear they dropped the bomb on you, baby.
Is that what the song is about?
Yes.
You're lying.
No. So Charlie Wilson actually,
Gap
Band. So Charlie Wilson actually did he talked about, he's like, we came up with these songs, like that song was based off of Black Wall Street because he's from that area.
Mm-hmm.
So
wait.
Yeah.
Yes. So the first time
my whole heart is just torn in pieces.
I've always known the song.
Not that song being so jovial. We play it at celebration.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't even know what sound effect to play.
Just say,
So when I first heard about the actual event of Black Wall Street and the bombing of Tulsa, it didn't blow my mind because, I mean, we live in America. So for me to...
Bombs?
They took out an entire city because they were thriving.
That idea doesn't blow my mind because America.
Right.
Dropping bombs on an American city because they're Black?
Yeah.
Does. And it should. It is alarming that it doesn't blow your mind.
I mean, it is alarming.
For various reasons.
Yes.
But I'm not trying to be naive in the fact that it blows my mind, but it should not be oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, you're right. It shouldn't be.
Because racism. No.
Bombs?
Right.
It shouldn't be alarming. But when I realized that was the connection between the song, because again, like I said, I always heard the song, but when you hear the history behind it, I'm just like, I agree with you in the respect of whenever we do something great, they take it out. So it's kind of like, not to say this because, I mean, how during the civil rights movement, the FBI had an entire team on taking out prominent people.
And then had a report where they analyzed their own inner workings. We're like, oh yeah, we did kill MLK.
Right. MLK, all of these things that they lined up.
Oh yeah, there are aliens.
To continue to suppress people of color. But I'm also I'm personally in a space where you don't have to work hard for the shit that you got. That's the thing that I'm like, what you have is what I want, right? You don't have to work hard for the shit you got. Why do I have to work so hard? And I think that's the thing that frustrates me, if anything else, when we talk about Black sensitivity, that is probably the one thing I'm most sensitive about, especially in my workspace. I work for a government contractor, and you see people from the Mount of Caucasia.
I just learned that was a real place a month ago.
So people from the Mount of Caucasia.
I need to go back to HBC. Let me redo my
First of all,
bachelor's.
let me be clear. I didn't go to HBCU.
Let me tell you,
just say that.
They didn't teach that at HBCU either.
So so people from the Mount of Caucasia don't have to do all of the things at work that I feel like sometimes I have to do.
Oh, yeah.
They don't we already know that there is an income discrepancy between people of color and people from the Mount of Caucasia.
Access to finances.
All of these options, all of these things. And go back and listen to our episode where we talked about Get Your Money with our guest, who happened to be my sister. About
first episode of season 2.
Go back and listen to that episode. But it doesn't baffle me, but it irritates me that we have to do so much in the workplace to be
not just the workplace, in any space.
Well, you're right, in any space, but
hence this whole conversation.
Hence this whole conversation. But income disparity. Why do I have to do all that to get paid the same amount you getting paid?
Or it also just irritates me in ways that people that have a lot of money suddenly, I guess not suddenly, because I'm sure it happens over time, become very blind to the fact that you don't have to struggle in the same way. We all have 24 hours in a day. Get your fucking ass up and work. No one wants to work anymore. The fact that is still happening.
First of all, like, okay, I'm gonna throw this lady under the bus, so I'm probably apologize, Kim K. But
you didn't use apologizing. First of all,
right? All the shots.
Why are you apologizing?
Okay, I really didn't mean to apologize. If y'all know me, y'all know. Right. I really don't give a damn. You made your money not in 24 hours, maybe 24 minutes on a video.
I saw a meme that said, it's funny that Kim K wants to talk about working when she couldn't even arch her back in her video.
I'm sick.
He said,
I'm sick. First of all, I never watched his video because I refuse.
Me either.
Same.
But it's not two people I ever want to see naked. I'm good.
But I'm just like,
we've already seen her naked. What am I talking about?
But again, why should I have to work this hard? And you have the Kim K's of the world who spend 24 minutes and now all of a sudden y'all got TV shows and people throwing shit at you. I want free shit too.
Let me also can we talk about like where she was when that happened? She wasn't you and me. It had a sex tape leak.
No.
You're right.
Her parents were already in McLean. Right. Okay.
I mean,
and then her mama was like, we go cast this out.
Which is why so many people laugh at me because I'm like, yes, I live in McLean, but it's the hood of McLean. They're like, there is no hood in McLean. Turn down my street.
First of all, stop it. Stop it. Stop talking about yourself like that.
Because
I hate you.
It don't match with the rest of them. It's not a Hamlet.
The hardest worker in the Kardashian family is Kris Jenner. Not even a Kardashian.
Blank. Period.
What, to cover up her affair with O.J. Simpson?
Not even to get her daughters working. I don't even know how she did that.
No, you know
they
how?
don't work.
No, you know how?
Give her name brand equity.
They went to court to make it so that, they went to court to make it so that Ray J was not the only one that could profit off that sex tape.
Kris Jenner.
She made her child a porn star.
Basically. She was like, it's already out there.
Mom.
We about to sell this.
If it's going to be out there, we going to make some
okay.
We going to feed this family.
Okay.
You already did the work. Let me do the rest.
It's already happened, Kim. Let me just monetize it, okay? It's already happened.
But don't do that shit again, though.
Okay.
And then she did. And now Drake sings about it in every video.
Right. Kris probably had her hand in that too. She probably said, so remember the last time? I need for you to do that one more time. So we can sell that. But anyway.
Kris Jenner's the mom in Mean Girls.
We digress.
Right. To say all of that, we were talking. Are we okay to shift to the next one?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've exhausted this topic.
Yes, we've
Hence
killed
the
it.
mean segue.
Yes.
Oh, that was mean of us.
Sorry.
I take nothing back.
No,
we're not.
None.
I mean, they know who we are. They know who we are.
I said what I said. Okay. So I know we segued a lot. Sorry, y'all. We are bringing it all the way back to Black sensitivity.
If you've been with us this far, you already know.
Right. This is how we do. This is how all of our
conversations are. There's one thing we're going to do.
It's
a tangent.
First of all, we're going to have a tangent to the tangent.
5 tangents later.
And we actually came back without Carol, which is really saying a lot.
Hey, we love you, Carol.
Miss, we doing a good job. We doing a good job. Hey.
All right. So the next thing that, since we were talking about fashion, we were talking about Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren was on the opposite. I think attempted to be on the opposite end of this. It was a valid attempt, right? To be on the opposite end of this.
They had all the right players in place.
They did.
I think that it was a valid attempt.
They tried.
They tried real hard.
We are a skeptical bunch. We're hard. If you're not Black, if you already don't have our cosign of approval, it is hard to win us over, especially when you're trying to do something that's blackity black. We gonna look at you weird for a little bit.
Did you check all
pick
the
it apart
boxes?
And then decide if we here for it? So I mean,
yes.
Of all the people that have tried to do it, I would say that this is probably the most valiant attempt I can think of in a long time.
As of late, I will definitely agree. So I mean, if you want them little bit of flowers, you can have those.
the daisies out the front yard.
That's probably the most appropriate use
of
that.
Happened, like when you got kids outside and they bring you daisies and they don't know it's a weed.
Thanks,
baby.
You're so sweet. Them little
appreciate you.
Yellow dandelions.
That's what it is, a dandelion. It's not even a daisy. My bad.
Oh, okay.
I'm sick of
you. So on the opposite spectrum of that would be, I think this happened like 2 years ago, maybe even, no.
2019?
Before
pre-pandemic.
COVID,
that's how
yes.
I regard time now.
Yeah. It's like in the Bible, AD versus BC.
It is.
Before COVID and after COVID.
AP and BP.
B or BC.
Before pandemic.
BP, not the gas station.
After pandemic. There is no BP yet. I mean AP yet, but
we're getting there. So anyway, might have been like 2018. I don't know if you guys, our audience remembers this, but there was an ad that received a lot of backlash.
Old Navy.
No, H&M.
Oh, H&M.
Yes, H&M. We got.
Oh Lord, I was loud and wrong. Sorry.
We had. Trust me, when we were looking this up, we couldn't remember what
I just remember the little
which
boy.
says a lot, doesn't it?
It does. Not only that, because I definitely have been in H&M since then.
I was about to say, I actually don't think I've shopped there since that happened. I think I was in there once and I was like, oh, it feels weird. It was too close.
Yeah. I hadn't gone right after, but I just have been, and I totally had given it to another brand that I don't shop at. So that's probably what that was. Subconsciously.
Cognitive dissonance. Sorry, you don't shop there, so it must have been you.
Sorry, Old Navy. I was loud and wrong. I admit my wrongdoings.
Anyways, it was H&M, and H&M had a huge backlash because there was a picture of a young black boy in a green hoodie, and on the green hoodie it said "coolest monkey in the jungle." In the jungle. You're right. Thank you. I couldn't pull it up fast enough. But this to me is like just having no.
So mind you, this is how I picture this marketing for like the whatever. What is it called? It's a photo shoot.
Yes.
Okay.
There were two different sweatshirts. There was a young little boy.
One young white boy.
From the Mount of Caucasia.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then there was a young boy of color.
And what we also said, I was happy to see was a dark skinned boy.
That was great.
Giving us some representation too.
I firmly believe, unless maybe y'all can change my mind, that if the sweatshirts were switched, we would not be having this conversation.
We wouldn't be.
Period.
But because whoever was getting these little boys dressed, who might have been Russian.
Rushing, not Russian.
Yeah,
to be
rushing. Oh my God. Sorry, y'all know I'm a little country. Rushing. I'm gonna try to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe somebody put in the notes to put the orange hoodie on the young black boy and the green hoodie, and somebody ain't pay attention to what they were supposed to be paying attention to.
First of all, nobody put that in the notes. But
okay.
Go ahead.
Again, that's just me giving the benefit of the doubt.
Two
But
boys,
being the fact that
put somebody in something and somebody in the other thing.
Regardless, we all know that I don't think that that's what happened. I think that somebody just mismanaged and it was piss poor planning, and they put this hoodie on this young black boy, and
with no context.
Even if it had context, period.
No, I just mean this person didn't have any context. So if clearly it's not a black person to put this person.
Okay,
yes,
fair.
Because if they had been,
they would not have done that. They would have looked at him and his final look and be like, we ain't doing that. First of all, the photographer probably would have been like, you sure you don't want to?
Well, I feel like what's also interesting. Well, what's also interesting about this is that H&M is not an American brand.
Yeah, but they still deal with racism.
They do. I mean, but I don't know
Ukraine and Africa.
No, wait. So I'm not saying that racism isn't worldwide. Obviously, that's the case. But I don't know if certain are worldwide.
Okay.
So I'm not to remove blame. What I'm saying is, because this is obviously in English, not that they don't speak English in other countries. All that I'm saying is like I'm wondering if that played a role.
No. It didn't. I'm gonna tell you.
You were the one giving the all right.
Well, because
she was trying to jump on your train, you done pushed her right on off.
No. Because me trying to give them the benefit of the doubt was, it wasn't really real. I mean, I have to give y'all a little bit.
I was lying the whole time.
I was because at the end of the day, when I think of the African diaspora, right? Is that the right word? And even because I love watching timepiece shows and movies, right? And you can see like Africa, people go to Europe and then they come over here So before they came over here, like the concept of savage and monkey didn't necessarily start in the Americas.
That's what I was trying to say.
So that concept of putting this young Black boy in this sweatshirt bothers me because it is already known that people call people of color monkeys, coons, whatever have you. Like all of these.
Right. It may not be the same language, but it
may sound like a.
Wait, I'm not trying to say that that's okay.
Oh no, go ahead. Say it.
I'm just trying to. I guess I'm kind of like reflecting back on. Remember when Whoopi got in trouble because she didn't regard Jews as a race? Not because we don't know the Jewish plight, but because here in America, being Jewish is not a race.
Right.
Here, it's not like what you check on your taxes when you're filling out stuff with the IRS. It's not. There's no option for that under like race, and so I don't know the nuances in other countries when it comes to race.
Right.
That's all I was trying to say. I'm not saying that it's not likely or it's not possible. All I'm saying is that I don't know.
Okay. No, that's fair.
Okay.
There were a lot of people that this passed by that, like, and even I think I even mentioned earlier, like, because he's so young, I know for a fact that his mom had to be present or a representative of their family.
Who could have been white, but go ahead.
Fair. Very fair. To be honest, I didn't even think about that. Could have been white. As to why he might have got the privilege to be there. Who knows? But if you listen to our previous podcast about being an advocate for your child, even if you are mother of Caucasian descent, then who has a child of color, then go back and listen to that episode.
Yeah.
One thing Nicole gonna do is plug our own podcast.
Yes.
Look,
nobody
here.
else.
Look here. Listen, because we got gems over here, but
dropping them.
Even then, there's a level of awareness that you have where you can speak on behalf of your child, regardless of what color you are. Like, me personally, as a woman of color, again, I don't have no kids of my own yet, but if I have even my nieces and nephew, if I see, wait a minute, pump the brakes. Why are you looking like that? I'm going to ask the question. And
I feel like it's tough. It's tough when you have a kid that you're trying to get into an industry and you have to then make the decision if you want to be problematic or not.
Right.
Which is not fair. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that you don't have the right to speak up. You have to decide if that's who you want to be, because what happens on the front side is that if you say something and you prevent that backlash, there is no realization from the company that you were right and you saved them a ton of backlash in dollars. Right. There is just you being the problem.
We no longer need you. Here's your check for today. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and you don't get a call back, and then you're like, you know what I mean? And I feel like we see the same thing when we see like Black women models, and their hair looks crazy.
Oh my God, yes.
And they know makeup, that their hair was not done right, but like you have to decide: am I gonna fix my hair? Am I gonna?
It kills me when I see a woman of color on a runway or in an ad, and you can tell that they didn't have the right makeup artist to match their skin. Look, I look regular, what is that little TikTok? Look, I look like this 99% of the time.
But that 5%,
but that 1%, check me out, okay? Check her wedding pictures. I am fine, okay?
Fine.
Finer than fine. I said earlier that I'm not a flex, I am a whole muscle.
Hey.
Y'all speak on it.
Look here, check on me. But when I see people like that, where I'm just like, you can tell somebody ain't match your color. They only do people of other colors because your makeup looks pasty or whatever have you. They just need to have somebody double checking. It's like when you go to the doctor. If you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you something, don't they tell you to go get a second opinion?
Sometimes.
No.
Well, they don't. But you know subconsciously to go get a second opinion.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I feel like what also happens,
not getting a second opinion.
Well, if they tell you what you think already,
that's a good point. I feel like this is tough when it comes to Black sensitivity because it's clear that this is problematic. Like it's not even Black people being sensitive. It's like, have you learned anything about American history ever. Have you ever been in a history class in America? But I feel like that conversation is getting complicated by this conversation around critical race theory and what people think it is and what people think it's not. And people not basically wanting history to be taught to their kids in school because think about it in a context where it's clear to us that this is wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're white and you're not getting taught American history, you're not getting taught about race in school, how would you know?
Right.
How would you know that this is a trope that said that it's something that's racist and that it's wrong? All you know is not to say the N-word, and past that, you probably don't know much else.
Prada, Gucci, both of them doing that blackface stuff.
Oh my God, that was crazy.
And then they're in other countries, mind you, but
okay, but
they know
Italy,
about they know about
Italy
these things
by no means.
And so it's just one of these things of like, sure, you weren't taught these things, but if you don't,
but you were. Italy is still doing blackface today.
It's I don't know. It's one of these things of like, if we don't say anything, you're just going to continue to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that part.
So you don't want to hear about us talking about it, but at the same time, you don't want us to teach you about it. So when are we going to be able to shut up about it? Because I'm tired of talking about it, but you don't want to learn about it.
We're tired of seeing it.
Right.
Tired of seeing it.
Right. So make up your mind. Either you're going to stop, you're going to learn for yourself through this CRT or something else, or you're going to hear about me talk about it every time you do something stupid.
I think that when you start talking about people's dollars, it's like, how much money do you want to lose today? Because I can tell you proactively and you not lose whatever you're going to lose, whether it be consumers, money, whatever is the fallout, versus if you have that one individual that speaks up and says something, and granted, it may feel like a moment, but think of the grand scheme of things, like, and how that person is actively saving you so much heartache.
But people don't have to.
Right. And that's part of the problem.
It's like, it's a choice for them.
Right.
It's not an obligation. And so I feel like that is part of it too, because I remember when this happened, a lot of the conversation was, do you have any Black people in the room? Is there anybody Black that is working for H&M that can tell you how problematic this is?
From the beginning to the end, no, there was nobody in there that could tell them, hey,
to be fair, there might be somebody in the room, but it might be somebody that wants to keep their job.
That too.
Same energy is what I was saying with.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
The
Ralph Lauren thing too, going all the way back to that, is one of these things of, is he now listening because the
pandemic? Yes.
The pandemic, but also is it one of these things of, he saw what happened with Prada, he saw what happened with Gucci, he saw what happened with H&M, and recognized, oh, we might need to put like one eye, like, and then an eye that we're telling them it's okay for you to say things because we don't want to be caught in this same problematic trend that we're seeing with everyone else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
no. I feel like that's very valid. I think that is like sometimes my biggest question when it comes to things like this is like, then what? Mm-hmm. So like even with H&M, like a lot of us are shopping at H&M again, like since that has happened. So like,
I'm not shopping there.
Is that me either? But like
they also don't care.
But a lot of people are. So like, I hate you. But like, what is the end result? Like, how long do you boycott something? Like, what are you hoping for? What should brands be learning? Like once something like this happens, and what do the ancillary brands learn when it happens to a different brand?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what is their takeaway and what are they trying to then incorporate within their own house after it happens to somebody else?
If we go back to the concept of whatever they have, we want, right? Or not even we, meaning a people, meaning in general, like human nature, is if somebody has something they want it, to speak to your time frame, some people never stop. Like, because it's what they want. So because it's what they want, they're not going to stop. Like me, I like bags.
How do you mean? Like what do you mean?
So I like bags.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Like you're never going to stop shopping there because they have what you desire.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's fine. It's like, oh.
I feel like anything that's created somewhere, like you can get somewhere else.
I mean, some people are going to cringe a little bit, but they're going to they're like, is it worth me? Like, okay, to be fair, I don't shop at H&M. Like, they say they have a plus size, but that plus size is hit different. Like, it's not.
Maybe that's a good conversation. Maybe like what brand can mess up with and not lose you as a customer is a good conversation.
A lot of them. I mean, think about when you go to a restaurant, they may mess up your food, but they're going to try to make it right.
Yeah, but you messing up my food isn't the same as you being racist.
Well, I mean,
how many gay people still
not
go
Nicole
to Chick-fil-A?
Like, it is for me. Okay, it's the same for me.
I mean, it's all this. I mean, it's the same concept. It's the same concept.
That's a question because it's a real question.
It is. I mean,
but there's also like gay franchisees of Chick-fil-A, which blows my mind.
Not gonna lie, Chick-fil-A is not my number one spot anyway. I've never been a fan of chicken in general, so
you don't like chicken?
Don't.
How did I never know this?
You know what? I appreciate you for saying that because they like to say, they meaning all types of people, that black people love chicken. I cannot stand watermelon.
Oh, this is going to be good for the next part where we talk about funny racist things that have happened. Okay, I'm excited.
Yes, I am not to that point.
I don't like watermelon.
I'm not a part of that trope.
I don't like seedless.
I will eat.
I don't like none of it.
Oh, well, I will eat wings.
You eat watermelon at all times.
Oh.
Is that what you're talking about when you said seedless?
No, I don't like any types of watermelon, period.
But you were talking about watermelon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will eat watermelon.
We know.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to get you that cutter that like rotates.
I mean, granted, I'm not about wasting food. If you bring me some watermelon that's been soaked in liquor, I'm gonna eat it. Or if you bring me something that's like, has that cheese and you mix it with the balsamic vinaigrette, I might taste it, but I'm not out here buying watermelon. No.
Oh. What,
some people eat their watermelon like in a savory, like they put the balsamic vinaigrette on it and they put it with like a.
I've heard about the mustard thing that was happening a couple years ago.
Something like that. I don't know. Apparently,
I know what you're talking about.
In more southern states, they eat it that way with like mint or what is it? I don't know what
basil
it is.
And
it's like a watermelon salad with feta.
I mean, I'll try it if it's there, but I'm not out here buying watermelon because I don't like it's a texture thing for me. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, with all that said, I think that it's time for us to transition into some things that should bother us and don't. Unfortunately, I think that there's a long list of when you live a life being Black and there are a lot of racist things that happen, sometimes just your best defense is laughter because sometimes the ignorance is just so loud that it's all that's left. It's all you can do. You don't even have the stomach to be offended. I
mean, sometimes you just can't take things too serious.
Sometimes the ignorance is just loud.
Right. Yeah. So loud that all you can do is laugh in its face.
Because sometimes it's the audacity.
Okay.
And the irony.
Of all of it. So, segueing into that, we found some pretty funny memes and I guess no, they aren't GIFs, they're just memes, right? That are on Instagram, and there's a whole thread on site that we'll post on our page, I'm sure, at some point. But it says on one of the tweets they have on here, it says, "I hate that racism be funny sometimes." And
it'd be like that.
It be like that.
It's like, and
wait, I don't mean to laugh. That's hard.
At the same time.
Yes. Because, I mean, again, we have to find humor in these things because it literally is ironic at how racist they can be all in one moment. And it's usually, let me just also caveat this by saying, it's usually the companies we were talking about earlier, right? Like some of that stuff be just ridiculously racist.
Ridiculous.
But also hilarious at the same time. So
remember like old Popeyes commercials with that Black lady and all the Black people couldn't stand her?
Yes.
I was like, who are these commercials for? None of us like her.
And yet
but at the same time, you're happy a Black lady getting paid.
Yes.
So you're like, it's convoluted in a lot of ways.
I'm trying to be okay about this, but okay. Speaking of companies, so our first company on the first meme on this one is, y'all remember that KFC ad? In the KFC ad, it's a picture of a drumstick. And in the background, the shadow of the drumstick is a Black Power sign. And the rest of the meme says, like, what the fuck was that supposed to mean? Seriously.
Who is it for?
Who?
They wanted to know that they were in support.
Were they?
It's where Joe Biden got his campaign slogan.
KFC,
you're not Black if you don't vote for me.
Repast standard. Like if you don't show up to the repast with some KFC chicken. I mean, when I was growing up, that was like a whole thing.
Is this pre-Popeye?
No, I want to say Popeyes was around, but it won't the repast source of chicken the way
Do I lose my black card if I didn't like KFC? Because I didn't.
I cannot stand KFC.
Oh, I was like, it's never the fried chicken was never crispy. It was always like you just wanted to peel it off.
Original. It's original.
Oh, you have to buy. That's right, because they had crispy.
Because you have original. Crispy is new.
Is it?
I mean, it's maybe
I don't eat chicken.
Maybe I'm telling my age.
I don't eat KFC.
But
the coleslaw be banging though.
Coleslaw be on the one every
I
time.
don't like coleslaw.
Well, have you had theirs?
No.
Okay, you should try it. It's not the same. No. It's not like mayonnaise.
It's not. It's like salady.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
With cabbage.
It's
so good.
You know what? I'm bringing it next time.
First of all, let me be clear.
Sweet.
Let me be clear. It is the only salad, the only coleslaw I would eat.
Yeah, same.
Like I won't eat nobody's coleslaw. Look here, whoever auntie, grandma, whatever. I'm not eating your coleslaw
until Tiffany has it. She can't co-sign, but that's fine.
Just know I'm looking like this.
Even my daddy said he liked KFC.
I don't know what that means.
Who goes to KFC for anything other than the coleslaw? I don't understand.
Let's move on.
My man. In case y'all didn't know,
I'm grossed
that's
out.
Bay.
A little bit disappointed.
Bay likes KFC, and so did all black people at Repass.
All of the things.
Okay.
He likes the famous bowl. He likes the Popeye.
I am riddled with questions. Riddled.
All right, so we're on one chicken, so we might as well move on to the other, which is Popeyes. And the other meme is when Popeyes thanked the black community last summer for basically keeping them in business. I'm sorry, but I screamed. And the tweet is Popeyes saying, Popeyes is nothing without black lives.
Who proved it? Like, this is what black people want to hear. They want to know their black lives matter, and they matter to Popeyes. We need to let them niggas know.
On their marketing team. First of all,
white people.
I'm trying not to laugh so hard.
How can we incorporate black lives into our new slogan? Popeyes is nothing without your black lives.
What black folks is going to do is eat some chicken.
That's what they say.
I mean, we was the niggas in there fighting over the sandwiches, right?
I mean, if you think about it.
Was it white people?
No, they wasn't alive, but they wasn't fighting.
But if you think about even going back to Coming to America, that man it is a donation if you put your chicken leg in that collection plate. Okay? That is worth gold.
I don't know.
Not even the big piece of chicken, it's the chicken leg.
Now you sound like everybody
I'm terrible.
The big piece of chicken.
Exactly.
The big piece of chicken goes to daddy.
It's not a donation.
He gets the breast, okay?
It's terrible. I'm disappointed.
You save daddy the breast. All the kids get all the little wings and the legs.
That lets me know.
There's so much black nuance in these conversations. And that's why they're so tone deaf. Is because they're not privy to the black culture.
I just want to be clear. I appreciate mommy and daddy. I appreciate y'all because that lets me know I live a life of privilege because I don't eat chicken legs and it's not my favorite piece.
Oh, it is my favorite piece.
It's mine too.
No, you give me a wing.
Like the full wing or like the wingette?
Both of them. Any part of the wing. I love a wing.
But you still didn't get that big piece.
No. I only ate the breast. I'm new to the wing.
What?
Oh, you ate the big piece of chicken.
Yes.
Your family in disorder.
My mom only likes white meat, so she would only get like breasts.
Oh, so she would say,
so the whole bucket is breast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's different. Yeah, we talking about the 10 piece where you don't know. It's a whole bunch of different stuff.
Normally, some black people will say that they would eat the dark meat because it's cheaper than buying white meat.
But it's more flavorful.
It is, but I didn't know that until now.
Okay, well, like you were missing out is what we're telling you.
Clearly.
Yes.
Acting like you better than us because you got the big piece of chicken.
I felt like I was privileged because I was eating a big piece of chicken and not the leg.
Okay, one last chicken thing, and then I'm going to move all the way off of this. What was not on this list that should have been on this list that I brought up was Mary J. Blige doing the Burger King commercial.
Can you see her now?
Crispy chicken, wrapped in lettuce.
Is she in the place?
She's in Burger King.
No.
There's King to the Super Bowl.
It's come a long way.
Doing it.
From doing her. What's the Mary dance?
Yeah, and the leg kick. Boom.
What I tell you?
Did she do the pass out in the Burger King commercial?
No, she did not. She hadn't got to that point yet.
Feel like you need to do a chalk line around her.
Ooh. I don't know who was more tone deaf in that situation, Mary or Burger King.
She said,
Mary trying to get the bag. Right, it's like calling Shaq or Samuel L. Jackson tone deaf because they just, whoever called, they gonna answer.
You're right.
You're right. I'm still trying to figure out why Shaq didn't partner with the general.
I'm sure Mary's not parted. I'm sure Mary's husband at the time was like, "You gonna get this bag?"
Okay. Bag. First of all, she had to get the Burger King bag to pay his ignorant behind.
Okay,
that's another.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Right. So another one on here is that had me weak.
Oh no,
so problematic. It's so had me so weak. So this tweet says, "I'm still crying at that dog being named N-word, and I hate myself."
Not you
for
not
that.
saying it.
Well, I'm not saying it.
I feel like I've said it 4 times on this podcast.
You knew what I meant. Anyway,
say what I said.
And in the tweet that he tweeted, or said subtweeted or whatever, it says, "RP N-word died on May 16th, 1943, when he was tragically hit by a car. Died second in 2020 due to political correctness."
Due to what?
Political correctness. Yeah, I feel like that was us all first season. How do we say this?
I have so many questions. What is the energy in the dog park when you're like, "Nigga, come here, nigga, nigga, sit."
Forget that in the house.
Are you
1943?
Are you you fighting him, or do you have questions? Like, what's the mood?
Nigga,
what's the vibe? If your dog was playing with nigga, are you suddenly like, "No, we can't play with nigga no mo"? I need to know what the energy around the dog named nigga was.
Oh, I know.
I'm riddled with questions. What was the vet experience like? You take your dog to the doctor and you take him, even if the vet is white, and you're like, "Hi, this is nigga."
Straight face.
Like, oh,
or is it hard R? "Hi, this is nigger."
Forget all that. You in the house. It's 1943. Somebody black is probably working in the house.
Oh no. So they both come in at the same time? Nigga, come. And there's 2 of them? I'm sorry.
Where's the button? Where's the button?
This is getting offensive.
Right. Because I was just about to do fetch. And I'm like, oh, what? Now that you said it like that, like, you ain't going to take a time out.
I'm sorry.
The audacity.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't proud of that joke, but I feel like I need to get it out.
And now we're here. And now we're
in this cancel culture. When they cancel you, don't cancel the rest of us. Just you.
I feel like I'm safe because I asked it in the form of a question.
That's what the white person said in the room. I thought it was fine because I asked it a question.
Is this not a safe space?
Oh, man.
Oh my God.
You know what?
Jesus. Oh Lord. I'm so sorry.
But also, what compels you to name your dog that?
You know why? He's black.
It be your own people. It be your own people. It be your own people.
I'm sorry.
But aren't you fond of him? So is it mean?
I don't know. Or then every time the dog like messes up,
there's a difference between
who did this in the living? You know that was that nigga.
But there's a difference between naming your dog that and referencing it.
Oh God, I cannot. That's absolutely awful and wrong, but funny.
Don't do that shit no more.
I feel like I need to see what's that Black Lady sketch show? I need to see a skit around this because it would be hilarious. It would be so funny.
Nigga. No, don't you do that, nigga.
Oh
Get
my
over
gosh.
here, nigga. Yes, that.
Once he gets hit by the car, you're wailing in the street. Nigga!
Wait, you know what that makes me think of? You know what that makes me think of? Don't be a menace while drinking juice in the hood, and then little boy be like, "Oh my boy, why did that? Oh, ain't my child. Move on." Like,
Lord have mercy.
oh my God. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
That should not be that funny. See,
this is
racism is not funny.
You sound like a PSA. Racism is not funny.
With tears in my eyes.
Right.
That's terrible.
All right.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on from that. There's more.
Cool. Oh, okay.
There's more.
Please continue.
Share.
Yes.
Share.
This one has sound.
What sound?
Uh-oh. Hold on. Let's start that over again. Sorry. Let's get this right. I need to back out. Try this again.
One more again.
In this school system, then why did you stay in Mexico?
You need to pee.
It's a collective gasp for me. I mean, he was racist as all get out, but it's the collective gasp. It's us
It
last
always
time.
cracks me up when white people see something racist in action because they never see it coming. Meanwhile, we knew
wanna know why?
on site, we were like, oh, that
Yeah.
nigga racist.
You want to know why they didn't
Why
see it
don't
coming?
you go back to Mexico?
You want to know why they didn't see it coming?
It's the Captain Save-A-Ho for me. She is the go of that clip. Captain Save-A-Racist. I like it.
Yes.
But wait, you want to know why they don't see it coming? Because it's not them delivering it in the moment.
Oh, no. You think white people don't know what other racist white people look like?
Themselves?
This is getting offensive.
What about the allies? Oh.
I know that we have gone through a whole bunch of memes just now because
sure have.
racism is not funny,
But
even though it is funny
And yet,
sometimes.
Here we are
Sometimes you
laughing
just have to make light.
hysterically about it.
It's there. Still, we're laughing. But
Trauma wrapped in jokes. Ooh, child.
As
Oh,
our friend-
damn. That is how we cope
Yes.
it is.
It is.
It is. But I mean, whatever.
as a culture.
Our friend who isn't here with us today, we miss you.
R.I.B.
Would normally be like, okay, y'all, tighten up. It's time for meme of the
Back.
week.
All right, all right, okay.
And I'm gonna go,
Okay.
meme of the week. All of that, right? Well, I'm not her. So
And you still did it.
I tried to find a meme, but it's actually like a reel. And I'm just gonna read the reel. I don't have to really play
Oh,
it.
okay.
Because I don't watch things with sounds. I don't know what she's saying.
Ooh, problematic.
Right. So
If you learn anything from this podcast.
Turn on the sound.
eventually, not while you're at work or in a meeting. 'cause-
Mm.
But anyway.
Girl, read your
So
line.
it says I might be fat, but I identify as skinny. Hold on. Because it's a reel. So bitch, I'm trans slender. I don't know what's funny. The fact that I was trying to wait for the reel to play or the fact that
Both.
I'm just trans slender.
Both.
Trans slender is
So
very
yes,
clever.
that's your meme of the week. I'm not fat. I identify as skinny. Bitch, I'm trans slender. Okay? See
You're
me?
not the flex.
See me?
You're the whole muscle, girl.
Hello?
You
Come
really-
on. The whole
applaud you.
muscle. Thank you.
Our first time trying to do meme of the week without Carol, and Nicole killed it. I
Failed.
respect it. I meant killed it in a good way.
Oh,
In the
thank
black
you.
way.
Slay, queen, slay.
Thanks. Appreciate you.
Not you not getting it.
Which made it even funnier.
Trying to
Anyway,
compliment your ass.
I appreciate you.
I don't know, it could go either
my
way.
gosh.
Thank you. I
That's
receive
fair.
it. I
It
receive
is.
it. I
Because
receive it.
who are we?
Anyway,
But shady.
but yeah, that was the meme of the week. Thanks,
Mm,
y'all.
This was a good episode.
It
It
was really
was.
good. Thank y'all.
Are we ready to do our after shade? After shade?
Oh,
Not after shade. Yeah,
Aftershave?
it fits kind of
Yeah,
still.
It
It does.
It does. For us, for sure.
I forgot about that.
After shady. After shady. Yeah, both.
It
Track.
all tracks.
It all track.
Who wants to
go
start?
first?
Now you go first. You always
Oh.
Oh,
preach
okay.
a word. So maybe
Well-
we can go shorter since you. Sorry, who going?
Shady. Get it
See,
every week.
This
Carol's-
is getting offensive.
But at least nobody
even
brought up your
here.
age this time.
Well,
And yet
thanks.
she's
I
here in
think.
spirit.
Right.
Wrap this shit up, Messiah.
Tighten up.
Keep it tight. Keep it tight.
Keep it to one closing.
Right.
But wait, okay, side note, real quick before you
Oh
go.
my
See? See? It ain't me.
So
It ain't me.
Tiff told us how she went to the concert, right? And so that Jazz had a fake closing. The
did.
fact that you knew to stay.
I mean, I was like, this don't feel real.
I've been to enough black
I
churches
turned
to
to
know
Patrick
this ain't
immediately, and I was like, first closing? He's like, I don't know, the band's gone. And I was like, I think I walk back out. I'm
Right.
just not convinced. She didn't play the one song that's the
Right.
number one hit from the album. I just
Right.
don't think that that's how that would go.
Tell
I
us
mean,
your
I'm just saying.
traumatized from black church experience.
All the heathens left.
Look, when the pastor goes, I'm done, y'all.
Right.
10 minutes later.
Right. For my
He was still
first
here.
closing.
I thought there might be multiple, but there was only one.
Oh,
Anyway.
okay. Well, look at you holding
See?
out. See,
Look.
you You've learned some things.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. We digress. Go ahead, Saya.
All right. So I think for my Afro shade for this week is gonna be this was a lot. But I think what I gathered from most of this whole entire episode that I think is something that people would benefit from is remembering to stay, and that's kind of, I guess, my running theme, but staying true to yourself. If that means making light of a situation that is completely racist just so you can get through the day, do whatever's necessary so you can get through the day. If it means that you need to check a couple of people about how they're being racist online, then you go ahead and you check a couple people because that's what you need to make sure that you don't have to deal with this and have it in your timeline again. But make sure whatever you're doing, that it's going to be true to yourself because we don't need you out here exhausted from trying to run up and check everybody if that's not really the type of person that you are, or trying to make light of things that really to you aren't funny. If you see these type of things happening in or around your life, find the best way for your own self to be able to cope with them. Because I think that our group, for the most part, uses humor. And that's what works for us. Because Lord knows.
It keeps the dopamine up.
Okay. And we need it in this time frame. But for others who I kind of aspire to be, but I realize that is not me, they be checking folks day in and day out, writing think pieces, making sure that somebody out there knows that this ain't okay. And I appreciate y'all so much, but that ain't me.
Van, Amanda.
Okay. Yes. Look. All y'all. Y'all do all the work so that I can run because I can't do that myself. And I need my humor to be able to get through. So do whatever you need to do for yourself to make sure that you're okay as you're dealing with these things. And if it bothers you, don't let anybody make you feel like you're being super sensitive to this. If it bothers you, that's for a reason. And if you feel like you need to step up and say something, then say it. Or if there's some other way you need to handle it, then handle it in that way. If that means that you need to stop following that brand or stop buying from them or stop subscribing to, I don't know, CNN or whatever news outlet that isn't pouring into you the right way, do whatever is necessary for you. But know that if you feel a certain way about something, 9 times out of 10, not only that feeling, but also the emotion that it evokes is for a reason. Tap into that and make sure that you take care of yourself because ain't nobody else going to be able to do it but you.
That was a word.
Right.
As usual.
Thanks.
Is that your first closing or are you?
No, I'm done.
You're good?
Done.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll go next. Sorry, I was jotting notes as you were talking because usually what happens is when I hear you speak, I get so enveloped that I forget my initial thought.
Oh, that's good.
I want to affirm for Black culture that we will not be blocked from capital, greatness, financial, and industrial gain anymore.
Yes.
I affirm that we do not need validation from white brands to gain access to things that we need to be great and ascend from racism. We are one of one. We are moguls, the culture makers, the creators of cool, and we will get our due and know that we are enough in and of ourselves. And that's full stop. There's nothing that is stopping us from doing that. There's not anything that is stopping us from realizing that. And I feel like a lot of times we talk about overcoming racism and overcoming lack and overcoming these things that we think that we have to overcome to gain. And I just feel like sometimes we need to acknowledge that those are not going to be our problems always. And that they are not going to that part and that they are not going to be our problems for forever. And we can claim that too. And I just claim that for us. I claim that there is some point where like racism is not something that we will need to overcome in order to gain. And I really want that for us. And I really aspire to that for us because it is a hard life. It is hard for our mental. It's hard for our psychological, and it is hard in our lifestyles. And I just think that there is a reality where we don't have to realize that anymore. And that's what I claim for us.
Sheesh. That's a word.
Between the two of y'all, we can close. Benediction. Go ahead.
You
want to pass the offering plate?
Lord of mercy, we should. How do you even come after that?
Can I caveat on that real quick though?
Yeah.
I think the
second closing.
Second closing. Here we go. You did, but I'm sorry. I'm going to have to add to this because it reminded me of Martin Luther King, his last book. He talks about we shouldn't be aspiring to what they already have. We should be aspiring. We should be making it so they aspire to be a part of what we have.
That part.
That should be the aspiration in general. So
That's why they bomb us.
I mean, because if you really think about like what we've accomplished with them holding us back down to racism, what would the world be like if racism didn't exist and if we were just
regular people?
If we were the top, like if we and I don't even mean that from an oppressive standpoint. I just mean that from the creative standpoint. Like what would be created?
Okay.
Like what would be possible for us? And I love that for us because I just know it's out there. I know it's a reality that we can receive, and that's what I'm claiming.
That's all I got to say. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God. I got excited and hype. Got anything? Come on. Bring it.
No pressure.
That was a whole lot of pressure. So I'm going to reflect on, I'm going to try to paraphrase from what I journaled a couple weeks ago. And I touched on it earlier today, but I wrote, we are more than chain shackles and slavery. We are innovators, visionaries, dreamers, creators, and a whole bunch of other things alike. We have the capability to be so great, and we allow other people to oppress us anyway. I heard earlier, it's our time. And that resonated with me so much so because you have the capability of being so much, and you have a specific purpose. You just have to find what that purpose is. God created everything with purpose, every single thing with purpose. And if you weren't created, then you wouldn't have had purpose. But because you are here, you have something to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of when you're going to find out what you have to do. Eventually, we all find out something that we're going to do. And I think I'm in this space too. So I resonate with you all of it is your time. It's more than just your time to shine, but it's your time to just be. It's your time to just be. It's your time.
You're not a human doing, you're a human being.
Right. Come on, human doing, human being. Like just be all the things that you desire. And a lot of y'all will tell me all the time, Nicole, there was a point in time in my life where I stopped dreaming. And I've gotten back into a space where I can think about the things that I would like to do. And I challenge you all to just dream. Dream so that you can do. Dream so that you can be. And you have that capability to do so. So that's all I have.
Wait, that almost made me cry. I know, that was a lot. Okay, let's close because I'm going to cry. It's going to be off camera.
That was really good.
That was really great.
I tried.
I'm glad.
I'm proud of us.
We hope we held you down, Carol.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, baby.
Until next time. We love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.